Welcome, one and all, to the Success Curious podcast. It's your man, Andy, here. And I tell you what, I don't know if I need to bow, curtsy, whether I need to, if there was a red carpet that stretched from here in Melbourne, Australia to Manchester, England, I would roll that bastard out in a very, very big way. I cannot believe how lucky I am to get to talk to this human being. Amy Truesdale, MBE.
Oh, yeah?
You've even had royalty bow to you. This is just ridiculous that I'm getting to talk to someone of your caliber. Amy Truesdale is a British para-Taekwondo practitioner who brought glory, and it was in France, which makes it even better because you beat the French, which is even more awesome. You went over to France, you marched over there and won yourself an Olympic gold medal at the 2024 Summer Paralympics. You are a full-time professional Taekwondo specialist, and you have got medals littered all the way through your career, which is just the best thing ever. As a guy that is so much of a geek when it comes to sport, I just think this conversation is just like, I might as well stop here. This is just going to be the best. Amy, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on board with the Success Curious podcast. How are you?
I'm doing really well. Thank you for that introduction. That's amazing. But I'm really looking forward to it. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to it. So thank you for having me on.
Honestly, yeah, you don't realize that this is something of a pinch me moment. I'm fanboying the shit out of it right now, if I'm being completely honest. It's one of those ones, look, some people try and act all cool and stuff, Amy, but I go the opposite way, right? I own the fact that I am a complete geek and a complete sop, and just, this is just one of the best days ever. So pleasure is all mine. Amy, it's wonderful to have you on board. I'm really looking forward to having a bit of a chat to you about that trip to the gold medal in Paris. I really want to talk to you about a couple of other things as well. But before we crack on, for the listeners that don't know who you are, just give us a little bit of an MO, a little bit of an elevator spiel as to who Amy Truesdale is and how she got to this point in her life.
So Amy Truesdale was a little 8-year-old girl who was obsessed with Bruce Lee as a kid, used to watch all the movies. That Jackie Chan, anything that was like full energy, that was me. And then it was just my parents. They were just like, do you know what? We've got 2 young daughters. The world's not a safe place. Let's take them to a martial art class, which the local one in my leisure centre at the time was Taekwondo. I went to my first class and then I did fall in love with it straight away. So like I was always an active kid. I used to do like ballet dancing, like tap dancing, swimming. So I was like super flexible and like active anyway. So when I went to Taekwondo and like I could get my leg that high and kick people, everyone was like, wow. And I think I just loved that. So yeah, that's the reason why I started. And I then ended up dropping my other sports and focusing on Taekwondo. And then because I did literally put everything into Taekwondo from the age of 8, it's obviously took me on the massive journey to what it has to today, really.
It's absolutely phenomenal, man. It's so good. Now, for obviously because a lot of you will be listening to this. If it's okay, without wanting to try and sound too sort of stay in the obvious, like you've is it right that I'm thinking that you were born without part of your arm? Is that how I read it?
Yeah.
When I was doing my homework?
Yeah, so it's my left arm, like my forearm and my hand. So I was born with that missing. And I suppose like you just like I think in a way it's like I feel lucky that I was born like that because I've just like found my own way to adapt and do certain things in life. Whereas I've met other people who've maybe lost it in an accident, and it's like the only life you know is having 2 arms. Then when that's taken away from you, you've got to adjust everything. So for me, it's like that's the cards I was dealt with, and I've just found a way to deal with it. Just daily activities and whatever I need to do in my life.
Well, so it definitely sounds like you whatever card you were dealt with, you've ended up taking home all the chips. I will say that for sure. It is like quite ridiculous. Like it makes me feel somewhat inadequate with what I've done with my life at this stage. But anyway, before we crack on with everything else, though, I'm really keen, and you've already given me a little insight that I really want to dig into. To be honest, the question I always ask all of the people that come onto our show is what their definition of a successful human is, right? So I've got, as everybody knows, I've got this definite thing where success comes in four forms: success, connection, influence, and happiness. And not one can survive without the other. Amy Truesdale, give us a bit of an MO. What's your definition of a successful human?
For me, I think if you're successful, I feel like you are fulfilled with the goal you have achieved. However, saying that, I feel a lot of people have successes, but they're not always happy or fulfilled. So if you're successful, it's like that achievement has brought you that happiness and fulfillment, whereas it's not always the case. A lot of people can be successful, have successes, or they might get a medal, or they might get that job promotion, or you might get a boyfriend, but whatever, girlfriend, whatever. That's success to some people. But if that's not filling you with the fulfillment, the happiness, then are you really successful? So I think if you got that happiness or that goal you've achieved, then that's what I would class as a successful person.
I'm really interested to dig into this, right? Because part of the book is about that chicken and egg type question, right? Does success bring you happiness or happiness bring you success? And gang, what Amy's identifying here is it's so symptomatic of so many people who go chasing happiness. They go chasing success, right? They go chasing success thinking that that is going to bring them the happiness when they get there, right? But as Alan Watts, the famous British philosopher, pointed out, by the time you get there, it becomes here. So does there ever exist? Does there even ever exist, right? It's a very...
That's it. It's
Now,
like it's hard, isn't it? Because it's like you're always constantly chasing the next thing, the next thing. Then it's like, I'll be happy when I get that house, this, that. And then people are just not happy. So I don't know. It's really tough because I'm guilty for it myself. I'm like, I'll be happy when I get this medal, blah, blah, blah. Um, but people aren't. It's like that needs to come like from within yourself. So yeah, it's a tough one, really.
well, that's kind of where I want to start this conversation properly, Amy, if that's all right, because you can actually lay claim to have made it to the top, to the very tippy top of what it is that you do. Right now, we've already heard, team, that Amy fell in love with martial arts from a very young age. So clearly, she was one of the fortunate ones in the respect of being able to discover the thing that she was perhaps supposed to do. Having said that, though, there's a lot of people that fall in love with stuff but never end up going all the way. Now, you have literally gone all the way to the top of Everest, Olympic gold medal, biggest stage in the world. You got on that podium and got the number one spot, right? How did you feel when you got there? Because I know that I've been guilty. I have, like you, I've been so guilty of thinking, right, when I achieve that, I'm going to be happy. And then when you're not happy, I'm like, right, I'll go and achieve that. Then I'll be happy. And when you get, and it just becomes, it just drives you to insanity. And it did me literally.
Yeah.
So when you were stood on that podium, right, and it was sinking in, how did you feel?
I think for me, I felt two emotions. Well, maybe three. Like I was very emotional. I was crying my eyes out before, and probably a bit getting the medal. And I was actually like really proud of myself. And I'm like, for me, I'm not always proud of myself. I always do like nitpick it. And I think also it was like sort of relief. And I think it was more relief from the years my parents were running me about all over the country and paying for Taekwondo. So I was like probably thinking, oh, I hope they're happy with me. That was actually one of the
Mm.
thoughts. But yeah.
That's mad. And it's interesting that you've dug into that. How so you've obviously had a love for Taekwondo for yonks. You felt though that there was an onus on you to be able to provide success for those that helped you get there, right? Now, for myself, I personally allowed that pressure to take me down a path that I wasn't designed to be going down for a long time, right? And that's what led to a big mental breakdown for me. It was the fact that I was on that conveyor belt, sort of fulfilling what I thought were the wishes for myself, but it was really it was the wishes of my parents, right? Not that they put undue pressure on me or anything else. It's just as a kid, you do want to make your loved ones as proud as punch, right?
Yeah.
Did you feel that at any point in that, right? Did you feel that once the dust had settled, was there any sort of, and I don't think there would have been, but was there any sort of questioning as to one, was this really your journey? Or were you or was it more of a case you were having this journey for the benefit of other people? Or as you mentioned, you said you never really ever given yourself the chance to feel proud of yourself. Was that the one moment when you think about it, when you think back, that you went, you know what, I've earned this, and what made it so? I mean, yeah, you could argue it's the gold medal, it's the pinnacle, and all that, but you've won God knows how many medals, right? You've won a heap of them. So how did that change you fundamentally moving forward when you finally give yourself the chance to own the success that you'd earned?
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, I think because I'd achieved so many medals before, li like world champion, European champion multiple times, whatever, they're like the highest I got to. So Paralympic champion was the last one, and it's like I knew I was capable of doing it, and I wanted to prove that to myself and probably other people that, yeah, I am capable of achieving it. So that's definitely what drove me. And yeah, I do feel proud of that because I did do the Paralympics before in Tokyo. I got a bronze medal, which I was absolutely distraught about. Definitely had a mental breakdown, but I was mentally not in a good place at the time. So I think for me, working on my mental state from then till Paris, that's what I'm really proud of because that was the only thing that let me down in Tokyo. Because my Taekwondo is very good, but mentally, yeah, painfully hard on myself. So I'm glad that I worked on that to seal my fate in Paris. But yeah, I think like I did it for me because I knew I was capable of doing it. So it was probably quite a selfish reason. And I think now I'm in a headspace where is like I've achieved everything from a career point of view. It's like I'm still training and competing to inspire the next generation of athletes. So yeah, that's where I'm at the moment.
There's a couple of things in there I'd love to dig into a little bit. You mentioned then how your mental framework wasn't right. It wasn't where it needed to be for Tokyo, right? Where you got a bronze medal, and for lots of people that'd be like, wow, we got on the podium of an Olympics. For you, you was distraught, right?
Yeah, I was
So
in a bad way.
okay, so I don't want to take you back completely to that spot, but what was it that you did between Tokyo and Paris? What were the steps that you took from a mental capacity, from a mental framework perspective, to put you in such a different space? Because I've gone and watched all the stuff, right? I've gone and watched the video footage that I could find and all that sort of jazz. And you had a moment where you didn't know. It was like a VAR type sort of situation. I'm sure there'll be some technical thing that
Yeah,
you'd
yeah,
know and I
yeah.
wouldn't. And there was a VAR type situation where you were held in limbo for a period of time there, right? Right at the very end. What were the steps that you took? What were the things that you did to strengthen that framework so that come Paris, you felt mentally ready? What were the things that you had to do or change?
The only thing I did, it's so simple and it's so silly. I literally just focused on what was within my control. That was it. I think Tokyo, I was too bothered about external factors that I couldn't control. So in Taekwondo, Like, you can't control who you're going to fight on the day. Like, don't get me wrong, you can predict who you're going to fight based on your ranking and who you might draw, but really that's out of your control. We fight an electronic system. You can't control that. You know, technology doesn't work all the time. Referees can't control that. People in the crowd can't control that. So things like that, it's like, why am I stressing and worrying about something that I cannot change? So yeah, it was literally focusing on the things that I could control, and that was literally my attitude and my behaviour, how I warmed up on the day, and just having like faith in a strong game plan. And that's literally what I did.
That is possibly one of the strongest, most powerful answers I think I've ever had to a question on this show. And I'm not just saying that to blow smoke up your trumpet. And I'm not just saying that because, team, like a dickhead, I left an Olympic gold medalist hanging for 40 minutes because I got the time zone wrong. So I feel like such a dick anyway. But the reason why it's such a powerful answer, Amy, is because so many people worry so much about stuff that they have no bearing over, right? It's
Yeah.
just one of the biggest contributing factors that not only holds people back, but it can destroy people if they focus way too much on stuff that they have no influence over. What when was there a moment, was there someone that helped you discover that? Was there something that you discovered in yourself that made you realize that you can only control what you can control? Like, where was the light bulb moment there?
Yeah, I think like conversations with my coach, these are all similar things that all athletes feel and worry about. So I think just speaking about that, and I think the disappointment from Tokyo, um, it's like I knew what my mindset was like. So it's like if I did the same pattern again, I was going to get the same result again. So I knew I had to change it. But I just feel like I need to adopt that into my personal life now, because
Man,
even did it on the day in Paris, like I do worry and overthink about an awful lot of stuff that's not in my control. So it's like I do need to adopt it to Amy, not just Amy the athlete.
that's weird, right? So, oh man, you are on like opening so many Pandora's boxes. This is so good. This is so good. I could talk to you for days. Um, Pause on, just focus on that thing for a second there. When you said, I wish I could take that into my personal life, right? I, you know, I have this thing about flow state, right? So my version of a successful human is a human in flow, right? That's
Yeah.
where you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, when you're supposed to be doing it, why you're supposed to be doing it, how it's just everything's where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing in that moment, right? And you're in the moment, which is a critical piece. Jimmy Carr says it wonderfully well. He said it on stage. I don't know who he quoted, where he said, depression lives in the past because because you're depressed about stuff that's gone on. And anxiety lives in the future because you worry about stuff that hasn't happened yet. So the only moment to be happy in is the present one. What is it? Is it a case of when you put that gear on and you go head out onto the mat, do you feel like in that, is it like a case of you like put your cape on, so to speak, and that's like the truest version of Amy is when she is on the mat, and then when you aren't on the mat, you're kind of wondering, is it still a case of you're trying to figure out who you are still off the mat?
Yeah, 100%. Like I'll hold my hand up, like I've definitely let the sport define me. And it's quite awkward because then when I meet new people or they're like, "Oh, Amy, what are you interested in? What do you do?" It's like, if I'm not talking about Taekwondo, I do struggle to say who Amy is without the sport. So yeah, I think that's been my reflections after Paris. It's like I do probably need to discover who I am or get a hobby. And people are like, "Oh, try new stuff," and I'm like, "Oh, I don't know what to do." And then
Mm.
yeah, so yeah, to be honest, I'm a bit lost with it. To be honest, so I definitely need to put some things in place. Yeah, just to separate the two because it is just taekwondo.
But you know what, though, Amy? one, you could have fooled me, because like this conversation is just one of the most fun conversations I've had going. I don't give a shit the fact that it could be like, I don't know, tiddlywinks. I wouldn't give a fuck, to be honest. But the fact that you are showing a passion for something is and it's odd, right? Because when you discover something that you truly, truly love, isn't it weird, right? How the way the world is projected onto us, it's almost like you can be made to feel a bit guilty of being so one-eyed. You said the word selfish earlier as well, right? And for a lot of athletes, there's a ton of sacrifice required in order and focus, right? In order to get to where it is you want to achieve. I would argue, though, that the only reason why other people aren't like that is because they haven't found their gold medal sport, if we were to put it into that sort of analogy,
Yeah.
right? In life. Why do you think you feel that you have to try and find a different version of you, when the version of you that you've discovered is one that is the absolute best of yourself? It's not like you can go around just kicking the shit out of everyone, granted, right? So there's a very practical concern there that you can't just go wimmling in, kicking the crap out of people. But like, why do we have to have like a Clark Kent to the Superman, right? Why?
I get you. I think for me, it's like I've been in the sport a long time. It's like I'm not retiring anytime soon, but like I'm aware the sun is setting. Like I am closer to the end of my career than what I am the start of it. And unfortunately, Taekwondo is not going to be there forever. Even though I do think I will still be involved in Taekwondo in some capacity till the day I die, whether it's through coaching or mentoring or something along those lines. But it's like, yeah, if it was to end tomorrow, it's like I am unemployed, so it's like I do probably need more interest, more about me. That if I did need to pursue a different avenue, I've got something there. And I would stress that to all athletes, to make sure you have got a backup plan, because yeah, you just need it. And I think it gives you a better sort of athlete normal life balance as well. So yeah.
Isn't it weird how you guys talk about it like you've got athlete life and then normal life, right? And it sort of ties in with something that it really hit home for me when lockdown 1 happened, right? So lockdown, when when the world got put into a lockdown, and for us it was 28th of March, I think it was 2020. And that day really hit home to me how much we attach our identity to what we do, right? How much we attach ourselves. So on a much smaller scale, like a lot of salespeople whose identities attached to results, to those outcomes and whatnot, when they couldn't physically go and sell stuff, the number of people that I was speaking to that were having full mental, like instant breakdowns, because they'd been forced to detach from what it is that they did,
Yeah.
which was just, it was crazy. It really sort of shocked me almost. But then I sort of reflected on my own stuff, and I'm like, well, hold on. Like me doing the auctioneering thing and all that sort of jazz, like, and I, like you, struggled like all hell. Like at one stage, I was only happy if I was calling an auction, right? Because I get paid to shout at people, which is like the best job ever. But before I came to that conclusion, it was a real problem for me. It was a real problem for me because I used to see it as escape. I used to see going to an auction and calling an auction as escape, and the rest of my life was a bit miserable and a bit shit. And you would have probably gone through moments like that as well, where you don't feel sometimes that you're happy unless you're on a mat kicking people and whatnot, right? But
Yeah, 100%.
now, but think about it, right? If you were to say that Taekwondo was a vehicle, right? Because you could go any one of a million ways. You really, really could. Like when you think about it, because you've got, the obvious one, which is the fact that you could just be such an inspiration to women, to those with, with like either physical disadvantages or mental disadvantages or whatever the case may be. Or not that you saw it as a disadvantage, you just saw it as a difference that you ended up making the most of, right? And that in itself could be something that you use, right? It could be the Taekwondo of your life, right? Is to kick the arse of people of the word disadvantage, maybe, aren't they? But have you ever had the thought, or have you ever talked to anyone about how that the whole thing of that message, that thing you talked about, inspiring generations of athletes to come? Do you think that that is because of the Taekwondo, or do you think that is because of Amy, who became the Taekwondo expert that ended up winning the gold medal? Is it the sport or is it the human?
It's probably both. I think, like, me as a person, I love helping other people. It's like if anyone needs advice, or like, obviously I'm like an older athlete or whatever, it's like I have had life experience, I can relate to people, I'm like approachable. So for me, I do want the best for people and I will help as much as I can. And then from a sport point of view, it's like, our para team's very small. So if we are to drop off, we need the next set of athletes to come in as well. And not only that, I just feel like there's so many probably young kids out there that have got the same disability as myself and they don't even know that taekwondo's an option or an opportunity for them. They don't even know para taekwondo's a thing. So it's like I need to inspire them to say, like, you have the opportunity to do this if you wish. Because, yeah, some parents will message me and the kids aren't included or they're excluded from sports activities. And it's like, well, that doesn't have to be the case.
Really interesting. I've been messaging, I've been sort of having conversations online with Ruby Bishop, who's been a massive advocate for for inclusion in PE, in sport, for those that have got different gifts, right? If we call it that, right? But I just feel that for people like yourself, I just think that you guys sometimes shortchange yourselves. I really do. And it's kind of weird, right? Because a lot of the time, for so many of us, we can't see the wood for the trees when it comes to the people that we inspire or the people that we influence moving forward. And this could be good or bad, right? So for yourself, obviously, you are like a bloody lighthouse, a beacon of hope for so many people that are out there in the choppy seas and they need just some sort of guide to bring them onto safe ground. That is Amy, right? In a nutshell. But it can also happen the other way, right? You can negatively influence people and not realize it, right? Through it might not be your actions, but it might be your words, your own behaviors, your energy. You've talked and you've just said there that you've had parents message you to say that, you are that light of hope for their children, right? Which is, I think that is just the most blessed thing for anybody to be able to do. And so for me to sit here, and this is me being completely frank now, and I know we're recorded in that, but like for someone like yourself to feel lost away from the mat when it is everything away from the mat that is inspiring an insane amount of people, right? It just breaks my heart a little bit because of the fact that you can't see what's right in front of you. You can't see what you actually are. And that is something that a lot of people tend to miss. Like there's lots of people in it. I'm sure, guys, if you ever think in your life about people that are just this absolute shining star of a human being, right? And you look at them and then they just inherently don't value themselves because they're too busy trying to value everything else or everyone else or whatever. It upsets people. Amy, I just wish that sometimes people like yourself, incredible, phenomenal humans like yourself, learn to accept that you are. It's not the fact that you go kicking people. Like when I first saw you on Javino McLean, and shout out to Javino because that guy's just a
Legend.
absolute superstar, and I can't believe how lucky I am to even be connected to that individual either. So shout out to him. I saw you on a clip of his, and my first thought was, my God, I want to make sure that she doesn't kick me in the head anytime soon, right? definitely came into the equation, that I didn't just, woe betide the guy that's cross as you. I will say that for him for nothing, right? Seriously. But the thing that really hit me was kind of like what Jovino has in his book, right? You don't see any limitations. You just see potential and possibilities, which is the thing that inspires so many people. It's not the gold medal. It's the actions that you take, and the gold medal is just the outcome of it, right? That
Yeah.
to me, as a guy that's living on the other side of the world, it's got nothing to do with Taekwondo, that is fortunate enough to not have any disabilities physically. I mean, there's plenty mentally, but that's like a topic for another fucking day. But like, why do you think you can't let that in?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I don't know if I'm totally honest. I'm not sure.
If you had an idea, what do you reckon it could be? Because like, Amy, like next time in England, I'm going to see if you're around, because I want to like bow down to you, because you're just one of the most epic humans that I've had the incredible fortune. I don't need to buy a lottery ticket because I've already won, right? Like, why can't you? Like, if you had an idea, what do you think it would be?
I don't know. I think maybe I just haven't. Yeah, like I say, because I've let the sport define me, maybe I do sometimes think, oh, there is a lot of sacrifice getting to the level that I've got to, and maybe I feel like I've missed out on other areas of my life. I think, yeah, I think that sometimes plays on my mind as well.
It's a really interesting concept, right? And this is where this is actually such a phenomenal conversation that's gone in a different direction, as some of these tend to do, gang, as you've already heard multiple times on this show. When Isn't it weird, right, Amy, that and I this is where I could sort of tug on my own experience chain a little bit here. The feeling of guilt that so many people feel for focusing on something that they feel is their calling, right? I've struggled on numerous occasions following my heart, following my gut instinct, because of the fact that I'm too concerned that I am not being for everyone else. I'm being for myself. Someone like yourself who has managed to achieve that level of focus, and then has that the reverse problem where it hits them like, and they feel like, oh shit, hold on, there's all these other things that I'm supposed to have done. But the
Yeah,
fact that
definitely.
that we use that word supposed to have done, it's like the thing that we're never taught as kids. This is sort of one of my conclusions, is the thing we're never taught as kids is that before we can be the best version of ourselves for anybody else, we have to become the best version of ourselves for us. Because otherwise, how can we serve those around us as effectively as we could, in the way that we are designed to do, if we're not given the freedom and the space to be able to be the best, discover that best version of ourselves? Too busy living that conveyor belt life, right?
Yeah.
And you're sat there worrying about not being on the conveyor belt. Like, what do you think it is? And this is such a left field question, right? And I don't know if I know the answer. What do you think it is? Is it upbringing? Is it some wiring within your DNA that sort of splits you from me, right? In that respect, because we've kind of been like opposite ends of the scale. What do you reckon it is that splits us? Apart from the fact that you are insanely talented and I'm just a big gob.
I think for me, like the way I was brought up, especially being born with one arm, like I definitely think I was parented different to my sister. I've briefly spoke to it about my dad as an adult, and he was like cruel to be kind. He says cruel to be kind. He was like savage with me. He was very cutthroat with me, very strict with me. So yeah, I think that's got me probably to where I am. Like short term, it's good. And like the long term effects of being brought up that way probably aren't the best. But yeah, I think
And
that.
that's the weird thing though, right? Because I'm sure your old man was doing what he thought was the best thing for you, right?
Exactly.
And likewise, it's kind of like I was having a chat to someone about dog breeds, right? And they were talking about how wonderful pit bulls are and how amazingly well-natured pit bulls are. The perception of a pit bull is one of like real nasty piece of work, right? And I said, geez, did you not get worried about that around your kid? And she was like, no, because it's not the DNA that ends up conditioning it to what it is. It's the conditions around it
Yeah.
that then helps to define it, right? And likewise, you know, and I used to hold a fair bit of resentment, if I'm being completely honest, with my folks for sending me down, you know, for what I felt was sending me down mental health lane, right? Why do you think? So was your old man more strict on you than he was on your sister?
Don't get me wrong, he was strict anyway, but I think just me having one arm, it's like I had to be independent from a very young age. Like, he wouldn't
Mm.
help me with anything or do anything. It's like I had to do it.
So you've learned to really be like on your own little island then off the back of the fact that you were sort of forced to because of not having part of your arm when you were born. It was that thing of that fear perhaps that he had that you wouldn't be able to be self-sufficient, I'm guessing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. Like, I can
Interesting.
remember, I think I was about 2, and I was like, "Oh, dad, do my shoelaces for me." And he went, "No, go away and do them yourself." And then eventually I was practicing and practicing, and I showed him, and he was like, Yeah, you did it." But he's like, "If I'd have done it for you when you were 2, I still would have been doing it for you when you were 18." So he's like, "You had to do it yourself." He's like, "That's why I always said no to you." So little things like that. So yeah.
And what do you think it is that you feel as a result? Do you feel that that part of the conditioning that was put around you as a kid, do you feel that that now makes it difficult for you to let people in?
Yeah, properly. Yeah, my nightmare. It's like if I'm struggling with something, I still won't ask for help. And I'm thinking, hey, but just ask. But like I won't. I would do everything myself. Yeah, I never ask for help in any situation.
And
Not
that's
that I can think
that's the
of.
that's the fucking thing that I think wrecks so many of us, right? Because this is why you're at one end of the scale and I'm at the other, right? Because I'm on the opposite end, where I was conditioned to try and be everything for everyone by accident, right? It wasn't on purpose. It wasn't because my parents did the absolute best that they could do, right? I couldn't have asked for any more. But the unfortunate byproduct of how they brought me up led me to sacrifice my own existence to satisfy others.
Yeah.
So I was at the other end of the scale, and I'm trying to work my way back to the middle now, right? But here's the thing, gang: we can chase success all we want, but it's like abundance. There's no point having it if you've got no one to share it with. And what Amy's alluded to here is something that I think scares a lot of people from going and chasing that level of success that they can achieve. And I think that's what we're discovering in this conversation is people get so scared of ending up feeling alone in that pursuit of success that they end up feeling lonely because they don't follow what is true to themselves. And it's odd how you could almost argue that the whole purpose of life is to find that middle point between self and selfless. This is one of the best conversations I reckon I've ever had. This is
Mm.
phenomenal. Amy, as you look forward then, and you're looking forward to that next horizon, right? You've reached the pinnacle. You've now started to discover and unpack a whole bunch of stuff that was just not even in your eye line, right? It wasn't even in you had your blinkers on and you were rocking all the way to that gold medal, right? And now you got the blinkers off and you've got that bigger perspective on life that you didn't allow yourself to have before. If we were looking at taking baby steps towards achieving that equilibrium between selfish and selfless, have you already started working on that yourself, or is this very much a case of still trying to come to terms with it? Because it's that's a lot of years of wiring to sort out, right?
Yeah, it's true. Like for me, like you say, because it's the pinnacle of your career, I've achieved it. It's like I've spent since Paris, which is what, 18 months or something now. It's like, what do I actually want to do with my life? Which is a very big question. And to be honest, I'm none the wiser. It's just like, yeah, I'm going to continue being an athlete. I'm going to qualify for the next games. I'm confident I'll qualify again and I'll compete there. But, like, for me, like, the biggest thing was because of my age and stuff, and, like, we all do it, you do compare yourself to what other people your age are doing. It's like, because I've been an athlete, it's like, do I actually wanna get into a relationship and meet someone? Do I actually want my own family? So these are, like, really big questions that I'm sort of asking myself because, yeah, I am older, and it's like, if I do another games, it's, like, not gonna happen for me. So things like that, it's just like it's life-changing stuff, but yeah, you just don't know. So, like, for me, if I'd have been in a relationship after Tokyo or maybe after Paris, I probably would have retired and then set up a family, and got into coaching. But because, like, that's not worked out for me, I'm just gonna continue, like, fighting and training and being an athlete. 'Cause I feel like it's very hard to do. Like, don't get me wrong, you can do it. Like, you can be in a relationship, you can have children and probably still train, but I think for me, like, if I was gonna be a parent, for example, I couldn't be an athlete at the same time. I'd wanna actually bring up my kid. I wouldn't wanna be going on a training camp for a week, going to this comp for 2 weeks. You just wanna so yeah, things like that, that's like bigger life plans. So it's like I haven't got the answer to that yet. And yeah, I'm just working out what I want to do post retirement. And at the moment that's teaching Taekwondo and teaching Pilates. So I'm qualified in mat Pilates. So that's my new baby steps going forwards.
Oh man, I wish you could see what I could see. I really do, and I
I've had a
wish you
few
could.
people say that. Like a lot of people do say like to me, like, oh Amy, I wish you could see yourself through like our eyes. And I'm like, oh, just said chilled.
Yeah, well, that's maybe that's it, right? The fact that, and a lot of people would feel the same way. The fact that it's almost like we as humans, we seek out pressure, right? It's like we need to, it's like sometimes we struggle so much to be content with the way that we've written our own story, right? Or conversely, we don't ever feel that we can pick up the pen and write our own story, right? And you talk about, you have compared yourself, right? And it's that classic saying, comparison is the thief of joy, right?
Yeah.
And if we, and what Amy's saying here, gang, is essentially is if we allow ourselves that freedom to just live in joy, right? I mean, one, the world would be a much better place, like full stop. But we in ourselves would be much more content and have that ability to be able to make choices consciously instead of going down a path subconsciously based on the information that's getting fired at us on a daily basis, right? So because Amy, you've been so focused on what it is, you've not allowed so much of the external noise that affects so many people in the world, that all of a sudden it's like you've opened this window and it's all this stuff's come crashing into you, and you're kind of going, oh, well, what am I supposed to do now? Life by design is something that very few people get to have, and yet there's an opportunity there that a lot of people have in their lives. It's just sometimes the blinkers are on and they can't see it. Amy, when you think about, when it's all said and done, like chasing satisfaction is something that I used to struggle with constantly. And it's something that, if I'm being honest, I struggle with to this day still. When do you think in life you feel that you're going to be satisfied? Like, is there a moment, is there a vision, or do you think that satisfaction can ever be achieved?
That's a great question. I've got no idea because before Paris, I literally said to everyone, once I get that gold, I'm going to be so happy. I'm never going to be miserable again. And like a couple of people did say to me, they were like, Amy, if you get gold, you still won't have any mates, you'll still be single and you'll still be doing Taekwondo. And I was like, yeah, they were totally right. And like people tried pre-warning me, and I was like, no, I'll get loads of opportunities. And then it's like people were like, Amy, you're a Paralympic athlete, you won't get the same like recognition and opportunities as other people. And like everyone tried pre-warning me. So it's like, but then that was a dangerous game I was playing, thinking that medal would just solve all my problems because yeah, of course it wasn't gonna. Like I appreciate the medal. I'm proud of myself. I'm like absolutely delighted I've got it. But yeah, if you're unhappy in other areas of your life, that medal's not going to solve that. And yeah, I definitely learned that the hard way.
What
So yeah, the
that
answer
moment
is I don't know.
That moment, right? That moment, Amy, when all of a sudden you realized, I mean, for one, whoever was telling you, oh, geez, you're still going to be single, have no mates, they can get fucked. Like, seriously, whoever they
No,
are,
but
piss off.
to be fair though, it was like it wasn't even said in a bad way because like that's my situation and like I don't know why I thought all that would change. So yeah, I think they were just trying to give me a reality check. It wasn't really said with malice. It was just like try and be happy with yourself. They were like trying to pre-warn me, so it wasn't like said in a
I'm
negative
sure.
way. Even though it
I'm sure.
sounds quite straight to the point.
Yeah, but I mean, you're from Manchester. It's kind of like how you guys tend to roll anyway, which is,
Yeah.
words of one syllable, which is never a bad thing. Simplicity is the ultimate form of sophistication. Um, um, I'm really interested to know this one last question, and I'll let you go because I've taken up so much of your time because of the
It's
fact that
fine.
I got my ass over my ears when it came to bloody time zones, which is crazy considering I've been here 16 years. Looking forward, have you given yourself or have you afforded yourself the chance to look forward with excitement, or is this something that you're still trying to find that next North Star? Do you feel that that is just going to be a part of you where you need that North Star to chase in order to feel complete, for the want of a better word?
I think like the way I work, I do try and set myself like not daily goals, but small goals, even if it's not like taekwondo related. So even like a little goal each day, even if it's like a small win of the day, it can be literally anything. I do hold myself accountable. So I think as long as it doesn't have to be anything massive like getting a gold at a Paralympics, but as long as I've got something small like a project or something to chip away at that there's some sort of outcome, then yeah, that's the way I sort of roll.
Which is amazing in itself. And the fact that you've got that level of that level of accountability, right? Being in control of your own universe, controlling things that you can control. That's what accountability is, right? And that's the thing that's the beautiful gift that your old man did give to you, is the fact that you've got to be accountable for everything that happens to you, for you, by you, right? And that is something that very few people can say that they've managed to achieve, is that complete sense of accountability for everything that goes on in one's life. I doubt that you've said it yourself, you saw your disadvantage, or your textbook definition of disadvantage. You've seen that as a gift that you've almost treasured and used to hone in on, like a serious superpower. For lots of people that don't have that friction when they first come into the world, that inability to hold themselves accountable is probably one of the primary symptoms that causes so many issues for so many people. And the crazy thing is, if I could have an ounce, I like to consider myself relatively accountable for my actions, but in comparison to you, I'm like amateur level. I'm novice compared to what you are, right? And I could sit and listen to you all day because of the amount of strength and power and the example that you would set, that is what is needed so much in this world. Accountability for one's own actions is one of the things that's causing so many issues in the world these days, because of the fact that no one wants to hold themselves accountable.
Yeah, you've got
Everyone's
to.
blaming everyone.
Yeah, That's what I was gonna say. It's like, yeah, nothing to do with Taekwondo. It's like there might have been times I've had a conversation with someone and I've come across rude or whatever. It's like if I reflect on that, I've then got to say, okay, I didn't behave in the right manner, and then I've got to rectify it by saying, do you know what? Sorry about yesterday. I was a bit off. It's like, yeah, you can't blame everyone else. Everyone's on a different journey. Everyone's having a shit day now and again, and it's like, yeah, you've got to correct yourself and apologize when you are in the wrong and just rectify it going forwards.
Amy, I wish I could just like have you on speed dial. I really do. Like honestly, man, you're just one epic human being. I'm literally like my day, my week, my year's made. I've had a chance to talk to someone that has this level of ownership, this level of accountability, this level of awareness, despite the fact that she says she's not got a clue what like the level of ownership is something that you should not hide from. You should be absolutely proud of. And this whole thing of friend, like, I think a lot of people get too worried about having lots and lots of friends and lots of things and other people around them to validate their existence, right? The fact, and it's something that as we look at generations that are coming through, there is a massive identity crisis that's kicking around the world. Which is why there's so many protests, because people need to find something that they can attach their identity to.
Yeah.
The fact that you have owned your identity to the point where it's taking you to the very, very top of what it is that you love to do is something that the world can learn from. Like, it's something that the world is in desperate need of. And I cannot tell you how insanely grateful I am that I've got to just connect with it just for a moment. Right. One last question, because I could gush on about you for yonks. One last question, Amy.
Yeah.
I always ask all my guests is that you could absolutely be classed as tremendously successful in where you've got to this point. As you look forward though, and you look for that next thing that's going to, that next success for you, because it's all a very individual journey. What is one thing that you think is missing from who you are, what you're about, why you are, and your skill set that you feel you need moving forward to achieve what that next level of success looks like for you?
My word, that's a question. I don't know, to be honest. Maybe maybe a few, maybe a circle of people around me, maybe a few more good, solid people that I can rely on. That might be good. Like, don't get me wrong, I've got my teammates and that, and we're blessed at Taekwondo, we get everything done for us. But I mean, yeah, maybe like a friendship group or just like good people who've got similar values. I think that'd be good for me.
Having a tribe, by the sounds of it.
Truesdale's tribe, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
Well, shit, I'll hold my hand up. I mean, I know I'm a bit of a trip away, but
I've got the
I'll
first
hold my
member.
hand up, dog. No stress whatsoever there. I tell you what, and I bet other people listening to this, they'd be waving madly at you, saying, pick me, pick me, pick me, sort of thing, right? Hey, fuck me dead. Wowee. There'll be a million people banging your door down after this. Right. Amy Truesdale, MBE. It has been an honor to have.
It's been fabulous.
Honestly, I can't tell you how much joy this conversation has brought to me and how much inspiration. I know that sounds really cliched, man, but there's an absolute beauty in the inability to see what other people see, right? It's that naivety, that ignorance to the light that you give to the world, right? It kind of makes the light what it is to a degree, right? There's a part of me that wants to say, open your eyes to how incredible an inspiration you are. But then there's a part of me that's like, why the fuck should you need to? Right? Yeah, as well. There's a little bit of that for me as well. But Amy, I can't tell you how amazing this conversation has been. Thank you so much for putting up with my stupidity earlier on and hanging around for me for as long as you did. I really appreciate that as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Team, It's been an absolute pleasure to be having this conversation with Amy Truesdale, MBE, Olympic gold medalist, and all things that is incredible about human beings. Team, if you've been inspired in any way, way, shape, or form, please make sure you follow her and make sure you DM and make sure you let her know how much this has inspired you. Hope you've noticed there, gang, though. And I didn't do it on purpose. Barely even talked about the fact that she's got half an arm missing. Isn't that weird? Anyway, team, have a think about that one as we call it a day. Until next time, my friends, stay safe, healthy, happy, enjoy yourselves, and be good to each other. And we'll see you on the next episode. Take care for now.